Picture this. It's the 80s and it's Halloween. Everyone is having a grand time, going trick-or-treating, scaring people, and hanging out. As you and your friends are walking to the next house, a woman calls out. She can't find her child. They're gone. And another mother calls out. She can't find her child either. All of a sudden, it's chaos. People worry if their kid is going to be next, wondering if they're going to be next. Now 6 kids have gone missing. People start asking questions of how this happened. Who did it? Who would kidnap 6 children? Why? But the question isn't who, it's what.
Hello. Ignore the fact that I don't have my microphone. I forgot it somewhere. So instead, I'm using a perfume bottle as a substitute. Anyways, today's analog horror is Dreams of Insomniac by Pastra, or Pastra Spec, or Zachary Gignac if you're feeling really fancy. I will be going over each volume in order, unless I have something to point out. But first, let me say something. Do you know the lore channel and Pastra Court or Pastra's Discord server or whatever you want to call it? Forget it. That is not canon unless otherwise stated to be, which is something that people have a little bit of difficulty over, but I get it because there's not much lore to go over. With that out of the way, let's continue on to Volume 0.
Your name is Tommy Merrick. While visiting your old family home, you stumbled across a strange box of tapes in the attic. Out of curiosity, you decide to watch them on your old CRT. You think they might be haunted. While watching the tapes, you began to see and hear things that weren't meant to be there. For some reason, they felt oddly familiar to you. First off, the usage of the time era. Everything is done stunningly, from the little clicks that appear after text shows up, to an almost beep-like sound when you go to click on a random part of the video. And it's obvious that there's so much love and passion put into this, and so much research to get things right. This includes the deliberate low quality of the video, and I know that doesn't sound like it should be praised too much, or just the usage of the time period, but you'd be shocked on how many analog horrors just don't fit the time period, or there isn't just enough care into it. But it's very obvious with this, and I love it for that.
Something that I would like to point out is actually the neat little reference to Grimzo, which in one of Pastra's videos is stated to be one of his old mascots, which I think is just a cute little reference to what's inspired him to make all of this and what he's done in the past. Anyways, somebody broke into the store. Whoa! What'd they take? Costume. Slay, I guess. Go off.
Just a bunch of interviews, I guess. I won't go over this. A whole bunch of other YouTubers do. And the videos out there. I do like the Sean Grimm guy, though. Because why so animated? I don't know. He's just a little bit silly. That's all. Just a whimsical guy. Actually, I lied. I'll go over one interview, and it's with Miss Alex Williams. I won't say too much about them yet, but keep them in mind, because of course, they're just a little bit important. Then promptly thrown into Who the Missing Children Are with Jason McDonald, John Thompson, Ashley Wright, William Lewis, Norman Harris, and Sam Wilson. And then we have who the suspected suspect is. That sounded better in my head. All in all, this just looks like an average Tuesday report for me. Spooky scary guy goes out killing people. We are then introduced to Officer Kruger, who's like the most okay cop in the world. Hey, that last name sounds a little bit familiar.
That these children will be found, and the culprit behind these horrible kidnappings will be brought to justice.
Psst. Hey, if you actually look at the end of the video, where Officer Kruger is introduced, you'll see a little weird looking fade out on another weird looking face. Yeah, that's not any weird foreshadowing. Hopefully not. Anywho, we move on to the footage of the break-in, and nothing seems to be wrong until it just looks like chaos in the costume store. And then we move on to my favorite scene.
The sheer unbearable terror of the Eastridge demon itself staring right back at you. And then the music adds to it. A slow, melancholic piano plays as something tries to soothe you through this horrible sight. I'll try to let off on the music for now, but please, go listen to the OST. It's amazing and it adds so much to the experience itself. I love it. Then we're let on with whatever happened to Officer Kruger. What happened to Officer Kruger? The Eastridge demon. Wanna know what's wrong with him?
Content of these abnormalities include discoloration of the skin.
Happy fun times, am I right, folks? You know, I think I know a guy who looks like that. Or I know a guy who knows a guy. Or I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a... Anyways, here's the moment we've all been waiting for. The Haunted Halloween PSA. The rules of the season, presented by the Langman Foundation, and illustrated by Mortimer Gray. Alright, here's the gist of the rules. There's 5 of them. Rule number 1, remember the curfew? Curfew is 6 p.m. on the dot, because that's when you're gonna get smelling the snatched or whatever. Rule number 2, keep all doors and windows locked. It says so the smelling snatcher doesn't come in, but he's already in there. Rule number 3, you do not hear the knocking at your doors or windows. Rule number 4, you do not hear the knocking at your doors or windows. Rule number 4, don't trust anyone outside. They might be the smiling snatcher in disguise, guys. And then last but not least, Rule 5, do not trust anyone wearing this costume. And that is the end of Dreams of an Insomniac Volume 0. Oh my god. This was such a fantastic end. The more I watch it and rewatch it and all that, you can just tell that the entire series is cared for and loved for by everyone and the creator themselves. It's just so nice to see a genuine passion project be worked on like this. Especially the music. The ending music makes it feel as like there's something more. There's always something more after this. And that is done beautifully just by the crescendoing of the song. And it's good. Watch it. Alright. One little theory before I end this section off. At the end, when Clyde is doing his whole, spooky thing, and there's images flipping behind him, one of them really stands out to me, and it's this one. Hypothetically speaking, I could be delusional, but here's my little crackpot theory, that this guy behind him might be, Mortimer Gray. Could entirely be a trick of the eye, but I kind of see a little bit of a weird-looking wide smile. And it just looks a little suspicious. Just a teensy bit. Then again, I could be insane. Who knows? And then there's the mini volumes, which I'm not gonna keep going over, but I do have something to say.
Unsolicited viewings may lead to termination. What could that mean? Because it's like the employees are allowed to watch the tape. But then why would they terminate you? If they couldn't mean the employees, so what else could they mean? Just random people that managed to get a hold of the tapes? I don't know. Kinda spooky, kinda scary. What does termination even mean in that context then? Kinda spooky, kinda scary.
Volume 1. Yeah, woo! Hype! Let's go! That's what I've been waiting for, that's what it's all about, woo! Here it is finally, Volume 1. Yippee! I hope you guys have been paying attention because we got a really important player here. And guess who it is? Alex Williams, because of course. With their "My name is Walter Harwell White" intro. Dude. Anyways, after that fateful Halloween night, they were put under witness protection and then were promptly hired at the Lankman Foundation. As with all employees, they were given red goggles to stop hallucinations, and they were sent on their way. Very soon, they realized that something was extremely wrong with the Foundation and the asylum. Then, the archive begins to play.
Hello? You don't know me, but I certainly know you. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Lankman.
Ooh, it's Lankman, it's the guy, guys, Lankman! And then we get another Mortimer Gray mention. Let's go, we are eating well today. Woo! Oh, and his name is Herbert Lankman, I guess. My sincerest apologies to all my Vincent Lankman truthers out there. He kinda just yaps about how he turned the asylum or the Foundation to a safe haven. Cough, cough with daddy's money. Oh, who said that? They also fund the entire ECPD. Hey, wait a minute.
On the night of April 6, 1990, a phone call was made to ECPD. I won't play it though. Or will I? I won't. Or will I?
Eastridge 911, where is your emergency?
This is 45 Elk Crescent. Send the police, please!
Can you describe the situation to me, ma'am?
There's a group of men trying to break into my house. They're slamming on the door. Please send the police now!
The police will be on their way in a moment, ma'am. I just need you to breathe. Did you get a good look at these men? What did they look like?
I don't know what they look like. They're all wearing masks. I can't see their faces. They look all the same!
What kind of masks, ma'am?
Yellow ones? They're wearing yellow masks. They look like bandages. Hello? Hello, is anybody there?
Oh, what the hell?
Now let's move on to something more horrifying. The caretakers. These are terrifying, bandaged up people that kind of just wander the asylum. People are stated to specifically do not interact with them. Whatever their jobs are is too important for their interactions.
After she was basically kidnapped by the caretakers, she was put in the Alankman Asylum and under surveillance. Alex, being the cool dude that they are, offered to interview patient 66 in secret so they can learn more about the asylum and the foundation. After a bit of talking and going back and forth, 66 mentions a room. Room 66. I'm kind of getting a little tired of all these sixes. God damn. Alex is quite perplexed by what she said because there is no room 66. There's only 65 rooms. And then the funny doctor man finds them. Wait, what? Go over this real quick. Alex looks back at the footage and spots something in the upper left corner. A camera that wasn't there when the both of them were. They were once again very confused because there weren't supposed to be any cameras in the patient's rooms. And that's when everything clicked.
The goggles didn't do anything. They didn't stop the hallucinations. They just made it... But what did they do? They just made it seem like there weren't things there. That there weren't any rooms there. They hid things. So people couldn't possibly ever find out about room 66 until Alex Williams came along and was like, that's strange. That's suspicious. I think that despite it's probably just a stylistic choice, everything we see in the asylum from the camera's point of view is red. So that just could mean that that's how they hid things. That's how the cameras weren't seen by the people wearing the goggles. Well, they could have just also painted them red, which is a significantly funnier option. Which, yeah.
So, to figure out where room 66 was, Alex still kept the goggles on. And after a bit of walking, they finally found it. Room 66.
Place. And eventually, I found it. I stood in front of that door for what felt like an eternity. A part of me wanted to know what was in there so badly, but another part of me just didn't want to see it. I was terrified, but I felt like I didn't have a choice. It didn't even feel like I was in control of my own body as I pushed that door open.
Help me!
Alex whips their head around and finally sees Dr. Lankman's true face.
Looks like someone wandered somewhere they aren't supposed to be.
In that moment, cornered and alone, I finally understood what they were so afraid of. I was finally seeing what they were seeing. For the first time, I saw his face.
And that was Dreams of an Insomniac Volume 1. Holy crap. That was amazing. I genuinely recommend. Just go watch it for yourself, man. I cannot overstate how cool this volume was and how much of a step up it truly was from Volume 0. Once again, the music is fantastic, and the voice acting, oh my god. Beautiful, wonderful. Go watch it to experience it for yourself. It will be worth it.
The story of DOAI is wonderful. The characters are beautifully fleshed out, and so is the music. But speaking of the characters, what about them?
Lankman is, well, two things. The ARG funny man, or the monster of a man. The Lankman we see is a far cry away from ARG Lankman. This is a methodical and smart man that will do whatever it takes to study the Veldegun and figure out what they are. It's obvious even from the way that he looks that he does not care for himself. He let his goals and the need to figure out what these things are take a hold of him and completely forget himself. Dr. Lankman has left his body a mechanical husk in search of knowledge. And even the Lankman Asylum. Asylums are things so commonly used in horror media, but instead of the patients being things you should worry about, it's the owner. A man who cares so little about his patients that the most he does care about them is being able to feed them to the weird giant beast in his basement. This is something I see a lot of people praising, even back in the old lore days. And I love that fact as well. These people are practically giving their patients illnesses and going, oh no, whatever shall we do? I guess we gotta go and help them then. And nobody bats an eye. Except for Alex, I guess. Alex is shown to be kind and compassionate when faced with danger, a stark contrast from Dr. Lankman. They went to help people, and after finding out what truly goes on in the asylum, want to stop all of the horrible treatment in that place. Another sweet thing is that, in fact, Alex is non-binary, which I think is really cool. I know this isn't truly important, but it's cool to see in DOAI that, no offense to any other analog horrors, has truly fleshed out characters. This isn't apparent now, but it's obvious that these characters have more to them. And it's cool to see Alex, an LGBTQ character, be in the spotlight and be one of the protagonists. It gives me and others hope to see themselves in characters and make stories based off of that and give people inspiration. Mortimer is a bit of an odd one. He's really only mentioned in the series like twice, and even the one time is just by chance of name being written down. And then we never hear of him again. That is, in the new lore, but now I'm breaking a rule. In the old lore, he was mentioned quite a few times. In old lore, Mortimer was a cartoonist, and you know what? Let me just read it off for you. As the madness epidemic spread across Eastridge County, many preventative measures were taken by the Lankman Foundation to raise awareness of it. One of these measures included the production of animated PSAs, which were to be broadcast across the county. The man who was hired to animate these PSAs was a mysterious figure who went by the name Mortimer. After the airing of the PSAs, hundreds of children in Eastridge County were seen leaving their homes, never to be seen again. After the disappearances, an investigation was launched by the Langman Foundation to discover what was aired on the televisions to cause this terrible event to transpire. This investigation led them to the home of Mortimer, who was nowhere to be found. The results of the investigation left members of the Foundation confused. All that was discovered was that somehow, the cartoons aired on county televisions were capable of making anyone watching them hallucinate, and that whatever Mortimer was used to make those cartoons wasn't ink. Then the follow-up. When I broke away his mask, I realized that whatever Mortimer had become, it wasn't human. Not anymore. Whatever he was using to ink those cartoons, it changed him. And then the other follow-up. The tragedy of Mortimer Gray. Mortimer Gray sat alone in his home one Halloween night, angry and defeated. The rat that made his career had now ruined it, and nobody would ever look at his work the same way again. As he contemplated what he was to do next, there was a knock at his door. Yeah, it wasn't the best time for good old Mort. Quite a few parts were actually used for the main series, or the actual series, except for that one part about the hundreds of kids going missing. It was only 6 guys, not a whole lot. And then there's that theory that I had a little while ago where that one singular frame could be Mortimer, which I barely have any proof on, but maybe he interacted with Veldegun and was slowly transformed with that, or taking a note from his old lore that he used Veldegoop for the inking process, which is really funny to think about in hindsight. But then again, that's only old lore, so who knows? The music is done by artist and composer Lyra Horrors, one of Pastra's good friends, and she even did the reference sheet for this version of One Free. Lyra did a magnificent job on composing the music for DOAI. Every little beat and tune enhances the viewing by 11. In the scene First Contact, the music is what makes it one of my favorite scenes. A horrifying, twisted lullaby, attempting to soothe you in the face of something that's out to kill, is all done amazingly. Or the chill, upbeat tune of Rules of the Season, which literally just sounds like elevator music, and I think that's perfect for something like this. Or the industrial and mechanical, sharp beats of Human Factory for the Langman Foundation's theme, or basically Langman himself. It fits everything so well. All of these songs are done so wonderfully and add so much to the creepy atmosphere of Dream Zone Insomniac. One small critique I do have with this series is that we kind of just have a lot of information thrown at us. While yes, information is good, a lot of it is just left there, and we can't do too much with it because we don't have anything else to go by. But that's really it.
I pride Pastra and everyone else creatively working on this series for the greatness they've made. I hope everyone has a great evening, morning, afternoon, or night. Thank you for watching.